So the video, I accidentally cut it off. Still Wednesday, the 11th of December 2024. I was telling the story about when my vehicle was sabotaged in Jennings in Louisiana. I also want to say here that they've done that same thing to my vehicle very many times, okay? And they've used it to set up sex trafficking incidents and stuff like that. I will talk about that more, but right now, this is what I mean when I say I end up skipping, jumping from one time to another time because this happened so many times. Okay, so I know for sure when my vehicle has been sabotaged, and by the way, it's not just one vehicle I'm talking about. It could be even 4, maybe even 5 vehicles. I need to kind of think about that, but one of them was a brand new Chrysler. It was a 2019 Chrysler, and it was 2019 then. And that was a hire car. And that was a complete setup, which I will talk about. But that car, they disabled it to the point where it had to be towed, okay? So they do this over and over and over again. So I know when it has been done. So this was February the 13th, I'm talking about this year, 2024, and I was in Jennings, Louisiana. The first group of people that came were good people and helped me. But then that wasn't okay for the gang stalkers because that didn't fall into their plans. So they then did it again so that my vehicle just stopped again. And they then sent in their gang stalkers to, in inverted commas, help. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. I've got his phone number. It was him and his wife. He said he was a mechanic, of course. And he told me that I should buy a new battery, which I did. You know, I knew they were gang stalkers because they were using trigger words. I'm going to have to explain that more fully at a later time, but it's a type of psychological torture that they do to me. And it's there's a name for it. I looked it up. It's called exploitation of phobias. Basically, what they do is that they sensitize me. That's an NLP technique. They sensitize me to a certain trigger. The first one was the sound of coughing. So I now have the worst phobia of the sound of coughing. I literally flinch inside if I hear someone coughing, even a long way away, okay? It's that bad. So basically what these people do is that they give you a phobia that you didn't have before, and then they continually trigger it, okay? And the point about this is it's always something normal that nobody else would notice. And even worse than that, they use words that I myself use. So they're using my own words against me, kind of thing. And they make me phobic to my own words. And then on top of that, they sometimes mind control me to say those words so that I'm doing it to myself. I mean, it's horrible what they do. But anyway, these people were very deliberately using these triggers and making it very obvious that they were gang stalkers. But I had to play along because I know how this goes. This has happened so many times. I know how this goes. They will not allow me to be helped by normal people. They will keep all normal, nice people away from me And the only people that I'm allowed to interact with is their agents. Okay, this is huge psychological torture. My whole life is controlled by these traffickers. And people believe them. People believe them, I guess, because, they are either law enforcement, they're showing law enforcement badges, or they're showing, or they're, say that they are therapists or some such thing like that. And I know that they do that. I will explain. I will explain more, but I know that my traffickers are linked to a mental health facility back in the UK, and I will explain that all more later. But people believe authority figures. That's what's happening here. In fact, some TIs believe that this is a huge Milgram experiment, that actually we are not the ones that are being observed like we are, but that the real test subjects are, the people who react to us because of what they've been told about us, that they are the ones that are actually being judged, which is what happened in the Milgram experiments, isn't it? But anyway, again, I'm digressing. So the gang stalker told me to get a new battery, which I did. I was right there in the car park, so I just walked to the motor department, and it's horrible going into Walmart because all the staff have been trained basically to use my triggers deliberately around me. Not all the staff, but some of them, let's just say. And also they have gang stalkers that follow me around in Walmart. Not just Walmart, just every supermarket. There's just nowhere that a TI can go and be safe at all, even in the middle of nowhere. And I will tell more stories about that too. One time, for example, I was in Utah on some land. It was public land, so I knew I was allowed to camp there for 2 weeks, and it was beautiful. There was a lake. I mean, I was in heaven because it was so peaceful, Well, after, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 days, the gang stalkers came and started a fire, and everyone, well, there were very few people there, but the people that were there were evacuated. And I know that they did that because I was actually enjoying a moment of peace, It was actually so beautiful, my eyes would fill with tears just looking out at that lake. And some amazing experiences happened to me there, actually. But okay, I need to get back to the... I need to get back to the story. So I put the new battery in, or he put the new battery in. See, I had to play along because I wouldn't know how to put a battery in. And if it didn't work after that, what would I do, So they've done this to me many times before that I just had to play along and pretend that I didn't know that they were, gang stalkers. Even to this day, there are people that I'm still pretending that I don't know they're gang stalkers. Literally, nobody interacts with me more than once unless they're a gang stalker. That's basically how it is. I mean, this is a horrible way to live. Literally, death is preferable to this. This is absolute. This is imprisonment in every way possible, all right? And this is why I'm so traumatized. Literally anyone that that I have a natural interaction with that will only ever happen once. The last time I made a friend, it was last year. It was in Texas on the beach. And I told him what was happening. I told him the truth. And he started to treat me like a normal human being. Okay. Now this is interesting because he had been told that they were just messing with me. Those were the words that he used. Oh, don't worry, they're just messing with you. And I told him, no, they're not. This is psychological torture. They're not just messing with me. Okay. But anyway, people don't really understand that. It takes a long time to explain all that. And even then, people, unless you've lived through it, how do you get your head around something like that? But he understood that I'm not a bad person, and we just connected on a human level, which is something that hadn't happened to me in years. And this made the gang stalkers so angry that they set up a situation where they sent gang stalkers in and to do what gang stalkers do. And I went to confront them and I filmed them. I have them on film. I have them on. I have their photos. I have their license plate number. Anyway, these people were basically sent in to cause this scene, to make it. How can I explain this? They were the ones attacking me, but they made it as if I was attacking them by filming them attacking me, kind of thing. Okay, this is what gang stalkers do. They are the perpetrators, but they make it look like the victim is the perpetrator. Okay, they do that over and over and over again. Okay, they use the same playbook over and over again. So these people were doing that, and I was filming them, and the guy, who is a big beefy guy, he punched my hand so that I dropped my phone in the sand. So I then thought, okay, I'm getting out of here. I picked up my phone, dusted it off, and left. And as I was walking away, I can't remember if it was then or later, but I've got him. I was recording, and he said that he's going to shoot me in the back. And they came back later in the night, these people, and to do brighting. It's called brighting. They basically parked their vehicle right in front of mine and put the bright lights on. And actually, that was when the threats happened. Pretty sure that's when the threats happened. He was circling my vehicle and basically shouting threats. And I have that recorded. Anyway, the very next day, they literally drove in and took my friend away, just took him away. He lived there. He had a trailer there on the beach, and he lived there, and they took him away. That's what they did. And days went past. Anyway, I ended up deciding that I should just leave because these people had threatened to shoot me in the back. But I will talk about Texas more. See, again, I've digressed. This is why it's hard for me to tell my story, because it ends up jumping around. But it's gonna be how it's gonna be. Because if I try to make it perfect, it's gonna end up that I'm not gonna do it. So, and that is what has been happening. Okay. So, okay, going back to the 13th of February 2024 in Jennings. So he put back the battery, this gang stalker, and who said he was a mechanic. And I did manage to drive back to my home. But then the very next day, they did it again. So February the 14th, that was. So yeah, February the 14th, they then did it again, even with a new battery, because they can just, I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know if it just drains the battery or what it does. Anyway, I then found a mechanic. In fact, I found a few mechanics, okay? And every single one of them, this is a small town. There's not very many mechanics here, okay? So the ones I found, every single one of them just gaslighted me, told me some bullshit about how they were telling me that there's a short in the engine, and that's why it's hard to find out. That's why the battery can't be charged. It was bullshit, okay? It was just BS to waste my time. And yeah, and also what they do is, they never charge because, well, they have in the past overcharged me and not done any work. But then I think they realized that that's actually a crime. Like, they're not realizing that torturing someone is a crime, I've actually been told by a detective, oh yes, what they're doing to you, it's very horrible. It's not actually a crime. I think you're wrong. It's a RICO crime, RICO. Yeah, it's a RICO crime, and it's domestic terrorism, and a whole lot of other crimes too. So I don't know if all these law enforcement are all being mind controlled or what, but how can they not know that a crime is a crime? Persecution and torture are not legal, okay? And torture is not legal in any country in the whole world. So going back to the story, these mechanics were all gaslighting me and using my triggers as well, okay? And I do have it recorded. Finally, I found a mechanic who said he was going to help if I could get my truck towed to him. So his name is Rodney, and he's on the high street by Sonic. I did get the insurance covered that, thank goodness, and my truck did get towed. I think it was at the beginning of March. And I recorded that interaction with him as well, where he said that he could, if I could get it towed to him, that he would fix it. Once my truck was there, he then started gang stalking me and said that he wasn't going to fix it. He's done that all by text, so I have proof of all that. And basically, my truck's been there since then. He also sent the local police here, who, by the way, have been gang stalking me and harassing me since I arrived in January. He sent them to tell me that I should get my vehicle off his land. So this is it's constant. It's constant persecution and torture is what it is, just constant. So the latest thing now that they've done to me is that, Oh yeah, they've totally ostracized me in the town so that I cannot get any services whatsoever. I tried to get internet, but a company called YV or V, I think it was called YV. Just oh, sorry, we've had a problem. We can't continue with your order, that kind of thing. I was actually here waiting for their operative to come to install it, and he just never turned up. And then I got a message saying, unfortunately, it has not been possible to complete your order, or something like that. And I knew, this is just what they do. Another company, excuse me, another company, I called them, I contacted them to fix my roof. I can't actually speak on the phone anymore because of trauma. But this company had left their card under my door, so they were roofing company. So I texted them and asked if they could come and take a look at my roof because there's a hole in it, and I get drips when it rains. It rains inside basically. And the first guy who replied was very nice, and then he put me on to I think it was his manager or something. And then she just, at first it was fine, but it wasn't fine. I sensed just the way there was something wrong, and I knew it and I could feel it. And, the gang stalkers got to her basically, and then she just stopped texting, stopped replying, and I never got my roof fixed. And then the latest thing is the grass. So there was a guy who was coming. He did gang stalk me, and but I had to kind of bite my lip about that because I needed him to cut the grass. I've got nobody else, I can't do it myself. It's half an acre. I don't have electricity. I can't, I've only got some small solar panels. I don't have transport to get gas for a gas mower. And I don't think I'd be able to buy a gas mower. I don't know if the only place I can buy anything is Amazon. This is what I'm telling you. My whole life is completely controlled by these people. I'm literally only allowed to buy stuff from Amazon, with a very few other exceptions. And of course, Amazon is expensive. I'm not allowed to have a bank account. That's another thing that, how can I earn any money? I need to survive somehow. What they're basically trying to do is make my money dwindle. The only money I have now is from a small inheritance from my dad. Okay. And once that's gone, it's gone. And what they're keeping me imprisoned here, and they won't let me earn a living. I can't do a normal job anyway because I'm too traumatized. But, I was thinking, okay, but maybe I could, I don't know, make something and sell it, or do something online, or I don't know. I've got a few ideas, but without a bank account, I can't. And I even tried to get because I was told that the problem is the social security number. I tried to get one of those, and they refused me. That's another whole story too. But anyway, So then I was told, well, look, I could get a tax number, NIE, I think it's called, or TIN, I don't know. But okay, so I found out the address of those people. I filled in the form and I sent that off, and they've refused me as well. So basically the answer's, computer says no, computer says no, And the reason I'm having to do all this in the first place is that I applied for a U visa not as soon as I arrived, but as soon as my tourist visa ran out, I renewed it. And then as soon as that ran out, I applied for a U visa for victims of torture, which I was told it is an appropriate one for what's happening to me. That's a whole other story too, because the lawyer that I spoke to has now disappeared. These are the kinds of things that are just happening to me over and over and over again. Okay, and it's very, very traumatizing. It feels like running in a hamster wheel. And so many crimes committed against me, and I'm being blocked from any kind of justice. And on top of it, I'm being treated as if, I'm the criminal, and as if I'm being rightfully punished. People are believing this, and it's complete. It's like, it feels like I stepped into an alternate reality where everyone is insane. It's very terrifying. So, okay, so I applied for the U visa for victims of torture. That was the Vermont office. I was there at that time. I was in Georgia, so the office was Vermont, and I have proof of the date, the time that it arrived, and who signed for it. But I never, ever got a reply. And when I tried to chase it up, they said that they'd never received my application. Okay, so this is what I'm up against over and over and over again. So right now here, December the 11th, 2024, I still have no bank account. I have no way of earning money. I had this guy that was cutting my grass, but now I'm completely ostracized, and he just stopped texting me. He stopped coming, he stopped texting me. He still cuts the grass of the lady in front, but he just doesn't come here. Okay. And so that was a setup as well, because of course my grass got long. And so I then got a threatening letter from the city of Lake Arthur, saying that if I didn't get my grass cut, they were going to send somebody to do it and then charge me, which they did. And there's a video, you can see it's on the page. And they trespassed on my land in order to do that. And then I got a bill that's like more than twice what I was paying the young man who was cutting my grass, and they've only done half of it. So I need some legal help here. I really do. Every lawyer I contact either turns into a gang stalker, or gaslights me, or refuses to take my case, or just disappears. It's a very frightening place for me, okay? Because I am completely alone. All I can say is I'm being guided by God, is all I can say, because, and also there's something else. See, the trauma is actually, I'm so traumatized that it's physically painful, all right? And There have been times where I've not been able to even move. I've been in such agony because just what has been done to me is too much for me. It's just too much for me, and the injustice, you know. I am not a bad person. I have not, I don't deliberately do bad things to people. I don't. And so how can it be that I'm being treated, endlessly tortured and persecuted and treated worse than, a serial killer or something? It's too much for me, really. Okay. So there have been times, and recently, not yesterday, maybe the day before, I felt that I was being healed. I was in a lot of pain, a lot of pain. It's hard to explain. I don't know how other people feel emotional pain, but I feel it in my emotional body, which is kind of outside my physical body. See, that all sounds nuts, but that's how I feel it. And I feel like pain in my heart, like as if I'm going to have a heart attack, that kind of thing. Now, it's not the same as the pain that's inflicted on me with directed energy weapons. That's different. And I recognize that. And again, there's another kind of pain that is inflicted on me, especially around my heart area, which how do I say this? Gosh. So when that first happened, I didn't know what that was, and so I prayed, and basically the reply that came to me was that that's witchcraft. And so I was asking, well, who's doing this to me? And I got the reply, and the reply was, I got a picture. God showed me a picture of who it was, and it was a woman with dark hair who was I kind of now know that this is the woman that was sent to honeypot my soulmate. This is another story that I have to tell. There's just so much to tell. But he showed me that this is the person who's doing this to me, and he confirmed that yes, this is witchcraft. So it really is hard to explain because it's a personal experience, but I know the difference between directed energy weapon attack. It feels different. Directed energy attack and a witchcraft attack, and this kind of emotional pain, which is a generalized pain throughout my body. But as I say, it's not my physical body. Maybe I need to say this. For me, I really would love for somebody to, I'd love to know if, I just hope I'm not the only one. Is there anyone else out here who feels their emotional body or their astral body, whatever you call it, more than their physical body? And this is, you see, this is the key to why for me psychological torture hurts me much more than physical torture, because for me my ethereal body, or I don't even know the words for this, emotional body, ethereal body, astral body, I don't know, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's my real body. This physical body is an avatar to me. This is how I see it, how I feel it, okay? And my physical body is not as real to me as my real body, okay, which is my spiritual body. I don't have the words to explain any of this, but I'm just telling you my personal experience. And so when I have a physical illness or pain or something like that, that is easier for me to overcome, to just ignore sometimes than emotional stuff or psychological stuff. And the gang stalkers know this because they have been following me around since I was 4 years old, okay? They've been mind controlling me since I was 4 years old. And that's another thing I need to talk about more. But this is what I've discovered. So okay, a couple of days ago, yesterday or the day before, I was in extreme emotional pain. Extreme. I literally, it's like I just wanted to stop breathing. I just wanted to stop breathing. I cannot, I will never get over what has been done to me. This is too harsh. It's not fair. And for so many people to be behaving as if, you know, I somehow deserve it, that's too much for me. That is wrong. And I need justice. And even justice is not going to help me because it doesn't take away what has been done and it cannot fix it. Okay, so the only reason that I really keep going and I'm doing these videos is that people need to understand that this is a horrific crime and it must never happen to anyone else ever again. And I do believe that these people are trying to legitimize this as some, I don't know, some kind of alternative form of policing or something, or even therapy. I've heard them try to, you know, claim that it's some kind of therapy. I mean, it's total insanity, okay? Total insanity. This is evil beyond description. And the trauma is real, okay? So I was in bed. I literally lay down because it was during the day, but I lay down because I was just in so much emotional agony. There was nothing I could do. I was kind of curled up in a fetal position, you know. And that's when I felt the healing. And I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling it now all through my body as I'm speaking. And all I can say is it's God. I do know that the energies are changing. I know that. I know I know there's a spiritual battle going on and all of that. And I do know that. And I do know that we are being helped by benevolent entities, let's just say. And I do know that. And I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, I've gone off on a tangent again. But basically, to wrap this video up, I am in Lake Arthur, Louisiana. I have gang stalkers all around me. The local police are in on it, and I'm a prisoner in my own home. And I am ostracized completely, and being threatened because, you know, the grass cutting thing. I could do with a lawyer, but every lawyer I contact, I've told you what happens. So I don't know what to do, and literally I just pray. What I am being guided to do is to do these videos to get my story out. And I know that I know I've jumped about. I'm sorry. I haven't made it very coherent. This is my best right now. This is what I can do, and it's what I'm doing. And I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna strive for perfection because I'm just going to tell my story, and however it comes out, okay? And I'm sorry if this is rambly, but this is where I'm at. And at least I made a start. I'll continue another day.